So let's get into the issues a little bit. And I want to talk about somewhere that I've seen you split from Senator John Cornyn, and that's when it comes to gun rights. And Senator John Cornyn, he was the lead Republican negotiator on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act back in 2022. And as we remember, this came after the horrific Uvalde shooting in Texas. And here are a few measures in that legislation. It encouraged states to enact red flag laws, enhances background checks for gun buyers under the age of 21. It closes the so-called boyfriend loop, and it provided billions of dollars to improve mental health programs. That's obviously not everything in the legislation. It's just some bullet points there. You said one of your first things you would do if you became senator was to try to repeal that. Talk to us about that.
The last thing that we need here in Texas are red flag laws. We don't need any new laws. We need to simply implement the laws that we have on the books. As I said, I'm a military guy. I am a gun owner. I also believe that making it more onerous and more burdensome for law-abiding citizens to obtain a weapon it flies in the face of what the Second Amendment stands for. Quite frankly, this piece of legislation is why John Cornyn is in the position that he is in right now. I understand what happened in Uvalde was tragic, but my knee-jerk reaction is not going to be a gun grab. My knee-jerk reaction is going to be, how do we protect our babies and how do we protect our children? Also, John Cornyn never saw a Ukraine spending bill that he didn't love. And so instead of spending billions of dollars to other countries all over the world, how about we invest in our own country and our own infrastructure to ensure that our children are safe? The bottom line is that we need a presence on these campuses, and the idea of going after innocent, law-abiding gun owners is not going to work. Again, a homicidal maniac is going to attain a weapon if he or she wants one. There are 400 million guns currently in circulation. The definition of a criminal is somebody that does not follow the law. So when you implement more red flag laws, you only hurt law-abiding citizens. I am 100% against that. And that's the reason why when I'm a senator, that's going to be my first order of business, is to protect our Second Amendment.
Congressman, I'm sure every time we see a school shooting, it's tragic. I'm sure you don't like seeing that. No one likes seeing that. It does seem to be a uniquely American problem, though. We have more school shootings than any other nation in the country. Why do you think that is? And as a senator, what would you do to fix that?
It's a culture problem. Clearly is a culture problem. You see, I was old enough and I've been around long enough to remember where this was not an issue. You see, I graduated high school in 2000, and prior to Columbine, we didn't have this problem. We didn't have this issue. And by the way, guns were readily available back then. It is not a gun problem. It is a societal cultural problem. And that's one big difference that I share with Democrats, and also I share with John Cornyn. I don't blame the gun. I blame the homicidal maniac. We have a mental crisis problem in this country, and that's what's precipitated what we've seen in these gun shootings. But again, prior to 2000, this was not an issue, and I was in high school. So keep in mind, let's not go after the gun. Let's find the homicidal maniacs and figure out what the actual problem is and the root causes of it, and it's never the gun.
And that legislation gave billions for mental health programs. When you want to go after the homicidal maniac, I mean, how exactly do you do that? How do we fix these root causes in this country?
Again, this is what we have to explore. And you're right, this is a very elongated conversation. It's going to take a lot of debate and a lot of conversation. The point I am making is I'm not going to restrict our Second Amendment rights in order to do that.